I think when you think about community support as support from friends, family, volunteer groups in the short term to clean up debris and help get that process going of restoring people to their communities, to their homes. In the more medium term, we're looking at gathering places. Where are people going for emotional support? Where are people going to satisfy basic needs? Where are they going to commune with each other, right? Because a lot of those essential places, your schools, your coffee shops, your libraries, where you might have organic groups form and you're encountering other friends and neighbors sharing stories of what happened, what is going on in your life, what your needs are, to be able to help one another. That happens at these gathering places that are often gone after a disaster. So we talked to 70 different households across Northern California, and so the idea of community support manifested differently. It was a little bit different in different places as well as in different types of living situations. So one of the most interesting, I guess, examples was we did interview several families who were in an intentional living community where you have multiple households who all care about the land and they communally own a plot of land. So they own their own houses, but communally own the land together. And there's like a communal living room. And so it was interesting to interview two families, two households that have decided to relocate and leave that kind of situation, and two households who stayed there in that situation. So I think for those stories, because COVID happened in the middle of things, that complicated their ability to come together as a unit and really care for one another in a personal way. The close human contact was really necessary, and they weren't able to do that during COVID. So COVID was definitely a nuanced part of a lot of these wildfire stories. So some of that communal support came from, literally helping neighbors clean out the remains of the wildfire debris. In a fire, there's nothing left but ash and burnt pieces of whatever remains. It's very rarely do you actually find something that is meaningful and is intact that you can keep, because a lot of it is toxic waste because of the chemical changes that happen in a wildfire. People in the wildfire world, it's more difficult, I think, to start that initial cleanup because they often have to get approval that, okay, all the toxic waste is gone, now you can get in here and start cleaning up. And that's a big motivator when you can get your friends, your family, your neighborhood, volunteer groups who are down and want to help, when you can get them involved and bring those people together to help get the process started. Step one, going through the debris, taking stock of what's left and what's not left, and then we decide, okay, do we want to rebuild here? Do we want to rebuild elsewhere? So one point of community support is in that initial debris clearance. I feel like for wildfire, it's a little weird because you have to wait for the toxic debris to be taken away. It's like, we just want to get back. We want to help each other, and you're kind of in this pause moment. So there's a bit of sadness, a bit of depression that sometimes sets in there. I think when you think about community support as support from friends, family, volunteer groups in the short term to clean up debris and help get that process going of restoring people to their communities, to their homes. In the more medium term, we're looking at gathering places. Where are people going for emotional support? Where are people going to satisfy basic needs? Where are they going to commune with each other, right? Because a lot of those essential places, your schools, your coffee shops, your libraries, where you might have organic groups form and you're encountering other friends and neighbors sharing stories of what happened, what is going on in your life, what your needs are, to be able to help one another. That happens at these gathering places that are often gone after a disaster. So I think one thing that Greenville, California did that was very cool was that they established a makeshift business district, for lack of a better word, where you have restaurant facilities that are mobile. You've got a coffee shop that's mobile, a couple of food vendors, a thrift store next door. They put up a greenhouse because this is a place that's very snowy. And so knowing that for 5 months out of the year it's snowy and cold, well, they put up a greenhouse with picnic tables inside, and there are board games and things where people, kind of like a common living room for people to gather, for people to meet one another. And everybody goes there to do their business. So that's part of rebuilding community, is making sure you have shared spaces where you can actually share stories, talk about your needs, talk about where you are mentally. Longer term, it can also be like developing events that really bring back the identity of the community or put folks together on teams to build something new together. In Paradise, California, there is a gym there where the owner of the gym and some other folks in town have really come together and made a community space. So a gym is definitely a need, a functional need in a community, thinking about place attachment and things you do. You have to have somewhere to recreate, somewhere to work out. So, okay, we have the gym, but we understand the need for that gathering space too, and a place for kids to go and be safe and have activities. So there's a little game room they built on the backside of this gym, and this has become a place where local community organizations meet and talk about progress in wildfire recovery and rebuilding the town. So it's like a community meeting facility in addition to that. So these really creative use spaces, if you will, that become hubs for gathering and working together. And I think through the process of establishing those, it creates a stronger community in the long run. A lot of other stories had to do with the natural environment, far more than I ever heard in hurricane. So the natural environment, I moved here for the trees. I want to be surrounded by green forest. This is all brown. And it might not be a forest again in my lifetime, even if it turns green again. So why do I want to rebuild here if that's the reason I used to want to live here?